Not in St. Louis this year. We will be back next year, and we were there last year. But we're in Orlando, Florida. We had the pleasure of talking with Tara Gattis with Orbital Sidekick, correct?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, Tara, would you mind give us a little bit more insight of who you are before we dive into the company?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. So again, Tara, thank you. And I am the Vice President of Government Affairs at Orbital Sidekick. Before I joined Orbital Sidekick about 3 years ago, I worked at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. I was an imagery analyst for about 20 years before I left government. So I primarily worked with a lot of remote sensing data, EO, radar, SAR, same thing. And also I worked in counterterrorism and counterproliferation mostly during that time.
That's awesome. Okay. And how did you get involved with your current company?
Absolutely. So one of my last assignments at NGA was with Silicon Valley Outpost, NOV. And it was an effort within NGA to engage with industry and really open up new technologies.
Were you out in San Francisco?
I was out in San Francisco, yes. And that was a wonderful job. And it has spawned a lot of new directions within NGA. They are very engaged with industry now, have great new solutions offerings that we're seeing. And so I really had spent 20 years and I was like, there's more than one way to affect mission in this community. And after working with industry, I wanted to do more. And I'm of the opinion that we need more government officers to go out into industry and vice versa to sort of get that back and forth between. So I decided to step out. And Orbital Sidekick had a really interesting mission. We have a really interesting mission. And I was happy to join and contribute to what they're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that insights in your background. Let's get right into OSK and tell me more about it. What is Orbital Sidekick and what do you do?
Absolutely. So we are doing commercial hyperspectral remote sensing satellites. We have a GHOST constellation, our first commercial constellation. We have 5 sats on orbit now, with another one going up next year.
Well, back up for a second. If you already have a constellation, what is a GHOST constellation?
So it's our hyperspectral imaging satellite.
Okay.
So there's a hyperspectral sensor payload on that sat. And so hyperspectral is a modality that allows us to chemically fingerprint anything on Earth, right?
Is GHOST the name of the constellation?
Yes.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
That's just the
I just
name
wasn't
of
sure
it.
if it was a term for is it a virtual constellation? Okay. Awesome.
I understood. Sorry about that. Yes.
Name of the birds.
That's the name of the birds. Our GHOST constellation. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Global Hyperspectral Observation Satellite.
All right, as you're just about to get into, let's talk about the capabilities. How many birds did you say you are? You said you get 5?
We have 5 up now.
And one going
Next
about
year.
to go up? Sweet. Resolution, spectrum, what are we talking about here?
Right. So we have an 8-meter pixel. And so we cover from V-near to SWIR, so about 400 nanometers to 2,500 nanometers on scale.
That's significant.
Yes, we do. And we can capture the full spectrum in our standard imaging mode.
Okay.
With a 9.3 full width at half maximum, which is the spectral resolution for those of you out there that are familiar. So it's very evenly spaced bands of information, about 472 across the spectrum. And that makes for a very large data cube. So we sell our government customers our hyperspectral data cube, and then a lot of our commercial customers want the insights. And so we're also going to be selling insights to the government as well.
Well, that's a broad enough amount of capability. Do you plan on doing any type of nighttime?
We are not at this particular moment, but that might be something later on down the road.
Okay, understood. A revisit rate?
Well, it's up to daily when we have the full six sat-like constellation on orbit. Right now, we're probably every 2 to 3 days for most points on Earth. We do have global coverage.
Awesome. Now, there's obviously a significant amount of applications for hyperspectral. Where is your initial starting point for industries right now for
Absolutely.
use cases?
So on our commercial side, we are most mature in our oil and gas vertical, and that's where we've started and where our first commercial off-the-shelf analytics are coming from. So we're doing methane detection, liquid hydrocarbon. We're also working with customers for right-of-way intrusions, soil disturbances, vegetation changes that might indicate a leak or some sort of contamination. So that's the full suite of analytics that we're offering on the commercial side first. We're planning to expand into mining and agriculture,
Okay.
as well as some land use and fire fuel index type of work. So particularly in California, we're a California-based startup, and fire risk is of extreme importance to our home state. So we're particularly in the potassium band, we're able to view wildfires either before the burn, during the burn, or after the burn, like looking for the concentration of carbon and soil moisture to indicate where there might be fuel for a fire.
Right.
And then see the fire line when it's going on, and then damage afterwards. We're also working on some vegetation cover indexes as well.
Okay. Awesome. Amazing. And in terms of in terms of this GEOINT 2024 symposium here, where do you feel like you're the best fit for the government?
Great question. So the government, having come from NGA and been an analyst in the government, they're always insatiable for more data. And so we are part of NRO's commercial capabilities study contract for Hyperspectral. So we'll be providing pixels through that contract to both NRO and the community. And then in particular, we know that especially NGA is hungry for data and insights versus just the pixels, right? With the volume of data coming in, and honestly, Hyperspectral has a high barrier to entry. It's not as it's not as well used as something like EO or SAR.
Well, hold on there. Let's touch on that for a second. Why do you think that is?
Well, I just think there's not really been a hyperspectral instrument in the commercial world. We've had a few NASA missions go up. And so now that we've got commercial hyperspectral, there'll be more opportunity for people to use it and apply it to new use cases.
Okay, sounds good. Well, as we wrap up, any other insights or any other information you'd like to relay to the audience about who Orbital Sidekick is and what you're trying to achieve here?
Absolutely. So Orbital Sidekick, we are truly a dual-use company. We are very committed to maintaining our commercial business as well as our government business. And we're very sustainable operations focused. We're very interested in the carbon credit market and helping to help our clients reduce their pollution impact and having a more of a sustainable footprint in the world. On the government side, obviously, we're very mission focused. We want to work with our government customers to get them the information that they need and work especially with other modalities to provide like an answer to a question by just selling them an isolated analytic.
Well, great. For those interested in what you have to offer or would like to partner in some way with you or interested in government parties, how do they reach out?
Perfect. Just reach out to government at Orbital Sidekick, even if it's a commercial inquiry, and we'll route it to the right folks on the inside.
What's your website URL?
It's orbitalsidekick.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for giving us insight to who Orbital Sidekick is, Tara. And we'll talk to everybody next time. Thanks, everybody.